In the 80s, the hot hatch war wasn't fought on giant touchscreens, launch control, or exhaust pops designed to make you sound faster than you're going. No, it was fought on pure power to weight ratio, sharp mechanical steering, and high revving, naturally aspirated engines. And right here in this, quite frankly, outrageously classy, rare and magnificent Calypso Green is arguably the holy grail of that golden era. This is a 1988 Volkswagen Golf GTI 16 valve. Now, if you know your stuff, you'll know that only 10 to 15 years ago, you could pick up these things for relative pittance. Half of them ended up on forums being bought, stripped out, and then thrashed around a circuit. Fast forward to today, and this thing is a genuine automotive icon. But this car isn't just another survivor held together by hopes and dreams and questionable plastic wheel arches. This one has been painstakingly restored by its previous owner to an extremely high level, and its entire journey back to health was extensively photographically documented.
And it shows. This car really is in exceptionally good nick and has been restored in a way that is glaringly sympathetic to the originality of this car.
So today we're taking a closer look at why this is some people's undisputed king of the hot hatches, whether or not this restoration justifies its £25,000 price tag, and what it feels like to drive a pure analog 1980s legend on modern roads. I'm Jack Clancy. Welcome to Jack Clancy Cars. Let's dive in.
Let's start with the visual element of this boxy beauty. The Mk2 Golf was designed by Herbert Schaefer, taking, let's face it, I'm probably not saying this right, Giorgetto Giugiario's iconic Mark I geometry and fleshing it out with better aerodynamics, wider track width, and a much stiffer chassis.
This particular car is finished in Calypso Green, which is a subtle metallic shade. Depending on the way the light hits it, it's sort of a jade or a light teal, I guess you would say, but it is a very, very unique color and it's quite rare. And I have to say, it is just absolutely exceptional in person. It is one of the nicest colors I've seen on any classic car that I've filmed, I think. I really, really like it. It's incredibly stylish. But of course, the thing that makes a restored Golf Mk2 truly exceptional isn't just a shiny paint job. It is the attention to detail. All too often on old or poorly restored examples, the bumpers, the wheel arches, the side skirts can be faded, sun-baked, or actually just slightly hanging off. Not on this example. Every badge, every seal, every bumper, every bit of trim is in remarkable condition. It is really, really high-end. It is basically factory fresh. It's on these absolutely lovely BBS factory option spoke wheels, which I think look absolutely amazing. It also has the perfect stance, I think. It's not so low that a rogue Coke can might crack your oil sump, although it'd actually have to be a pretty hefty Coke can, I think. But it is riding at the factory correct height that VW engineers designed it at to handle proper B roads. Pop the bonnet, and that's where the magic really happens. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this is actually brand new, because everything in here is in such good condition. It is also one of the cleanest engine bays I've ever seen. In 1985, Volkswagen added a twin overhead cam, 16 valve cylinder head to their already proven 1.8 litre engine block. The result was an increase in power from 112 horsepower in the 8 valve to 139 horsepower in the new 16 valve. Now I know 139 horsepower might sound somewhat glacial in comparison to the 300 plus the modern hot hatches are boasting today, but you do have to remember that this thing is only 960 kilos. That is a lot lighter than a modern hot hatch like an Audi RS3, for instance, and it gave it a 0 to 60 of between the mid 7 seconds to 8 seconds and a top speed of about 130 miles an hour, which for 1988 is pretty quick. Step inside and it is like being transported straight back to the 80s. It is a masterclass in German functional ergonomic design. All the buttons are square, tactile and built tough. This car comes with the full black leather interior, which for me does elevate the allure of it over the standard cloth seats that this car would have come with before the restoration. It has an aftermarket steering wheel, although it does actually also come with the factory fitted leather steering wheel, which is in the boot. This one is quite thick. I would say the diameter is about the same as King Charles's index finger. All the switches flick with such mechanical heft. It is extremely pleasing. Even these, just those clicking noises. The sliders, you have to really put your back into it to actually get them to slide. Just everything about it is just so well built and nostalgic. It just feels very, very nice. A nice touch as well is that down here you've got the voltmeter, you've got your oil temperature and your oil pressure, which is pretty cool. The only thing that is not period correct is this aftermarket CD player. It's fairly sympathetic to the overall time of this car, but if that was really an issue for you, you can buy those Continental, or what's the other one called? Blomkraut or something? Blandkraut? That's probably completely wrong. But suffice to say, you could change that if you really wanted to. I probably would actually. And you also have a very nice manual wind sunroof. You never can overstate how good it is having a sunroof. But now I'm gonna stop talking and start driving. Well, talking and driving. Interestingly, under 3,000 RPM, this car is actually quite sort of tame, civilized, and quietly goes about its business. You could quite easily potter down to the shops in this without it feeling too sort of aggressive and stuttery. But when you drop down a gear and those revs climb to higher than 4,000, this car totally transforms. Because of the high revving nature of this car, if you want to drive it properly, then you are constantly engaged, because there's no automatic gearbox or fancy ECU working its magic here. Even when you're changing gear, you're trying to time it so that you can keep the revs high, so that you can stay right in the meat of that power band.
Because this car weighs under 1,000 kilograms, you really don't need 500 horsepower to have the time of your life. You can throw it into a bend and carry speed through corners in a way that modern 2-ton hatches don't really replicate.
It is just so fun. These 80s hot hatches, like the Integrale I drove, 205 GTI, and this just have such a particular feel. It is a real driver's experience, and you hear people talk about that all the time, but sometimes you just think, really? Or is that just something that people say, you know, for sort of nostalgic sake? And then you get in one and you really just come alive and you know exactly what they mean. And when you go between different ones, there are just similarities, and that base feeling of it being analog and just being so connected to the car is just such a lovely feeling. The gear changes in this thing are really nice as well. You have a short throw, so it just feels so good every time you do it. You can almost feel the mechanical linkages underneath just moving as you shift it. It is a really nice element that adds to the absolute charm of driving this thing around. What a day! I have to talk about the steering too, because there's obviously no power steering, which means at slow speeds it is pretty tricky if you're trying to do a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9-point turn. But as soon as you get up to 20 or 30 miles an hour, it's obviously super light, connected and direct. Because this car has been so comprehensively gone through, it is remarkably tight. It just all feels pretty much brand new. You've got no loose steering, no tired shocks, no rattles when you go over bumps. It is just pure 80s analog nostalgia, and it feels exactly like Volkswagen intended it to when it was first built. So should you buy this car? Damn right you should, because it's available now with Milestone Classics. Comment GTI below and I'll send you the details. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.